as a martyr. We've had a string of martyrs from the time of Emmett Till. Every generation has its martyrs, and they're going to continue. And we celebrate them, and we lift them up to know that they're not lost. But I can never forget that 3 weeks after this magnificent speech, 4 little girls were bombed in their Sunday school class, and then 2 kids who nobody ever knew about were slaughtered riding bicycles for nothing. That the world will never be perfect, but we can never accept this kind of suffering and injustice. And for me, Zimmerman is just as much a tragedy as Trayvon. His life is ruined over a love of guns and a false sense of what manhood is.
All right. Very interesting remarks made by Ambassador Young, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, former mayor of Atlanta, and former congressman, of course. And joining us now on the phone is the ambassador. Mr. Ambassador, great to talk to you again, sir. Thank you.
Very good.
Well, I know it's been a big day. You were there.
It was a wonderful day.
What was the highlight? Was it the president speaking, sir?
Well, no, it was the whole day. One, it was kind of misty, so it didn't get too hot, and it rained a little bit, but nobody got too wet. We had a nice little pleasant drizzle, and the singing was good, and the speaking was good, and the fact that you had 3 presidents there, and also you had President Kennedy's daughter and President Johnson's daughter, and you had Native Americans, you had Latino, you had Maori warriors, and you had people from the Bahamas, and you had the gay lesbian coalition speaking, and the trade union. It was the coming together of all of America.
No, it certainly sounds that way. Let me just. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying that I don't know how they gauged the crowd, but it looked like it was as big as it was 50 years ago.
Amazing. Let me ask you one thing. There's a headline out there today that, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but that Tim Scott, the only African American in the Senate who's a Republican from South Carolina, was not invited. If that's the case, I would assume you would say that should have been rectified somehow.
No, I know that all of the. I don't think we invited any members of the Congress, to my knowledge. In fact, I didn't have anything to do with the organizing, but I know we made a special effort to get both of the President Bushes there.
Right.
And I would. Actually, the Black Caucus was not very well represented. There was a governor from Maryland was there, and you had a congresswoman of the Congressional Black Caucus spoke, but I didn't see too many and John Lewis, of course,
right, was
one of the chairs.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, what did you think of the president's speech? I mean, obviously he certainly considered this an honor, but also I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on someone like him standing there 50 years later in his position as the first African-American president. What did you think of what he had to say?
Well, I thought what he had to say was quite appropriate, and he said that the dream has made tremendous strides and has inspired significant changes, including, his being president, but that we still had a long way to go, and that the need for the dream lives on. I think Jimmy Carter spoke very well, reminding people that when he was first elected to the school board in Georgia, it was a totally segregated school where the students had no books hardly and were meeting in churches and living rooms and everything else. And that we've come a long way.
We have come along.
But we've still got problems. And Bernice King touched a note that I think we can't really solve the economic problems just for America. That this is so much a global economy now. If there's a recession in China, or if there are riots in Egypt, and there's a war in Syria, then it affects our economy. Just the talk of action in Syria drove the stock market down this morning. So the job of the president is more complicated than it's ever been before, and I think people were really appreciative of the struggles that he has, and I think he got good support from that crowd.
It certainly seemed that way. That's for sure. But let me ask about remarks that you made that we played while we were getting you on the phone, sir. And you were on, I think, MSNBC maybe earlier today about Trayvon Martin. Martin Luther King III mentioned Trayvon Martin on Saturday, I believe it was, and Alveda King, Dr. Alveda King, his cousin, said that she would not have brought up Trayvon Martin in the way that he did. But you referred to Trayvon Martin as a martyr, and said that we've had martyrs over the years, and you talked about the girls who were killed in the church after the speech by Dr. King. You talked about Emmett Till. You put Trayvon Martin, sir, in that category?
I do, because it's a needless, sacrificial death. And I told that to his mother, and I said, Dr. King always said that unearned suffering is redemptive. And that in the church, we've always said that there's no remission of sins without the shedding of innocent blood. And I said, I told her, I said, I feel sorry for Zimmerman too.
I was going to bring that up because we did play that, sir. Yes.
No, he's a. I will. Yeah, but I said that I would. His life is ruined.
You told that to Trayvon Martin's mother, sir?
I did. That his life is ruined too. That is trying to substitute a gun for real manhood is not what we want to bring up. It's not the way we want to raise our young people. That was a no-win situation for America. And every incident of violence is that way.
Let me ask you this: 50 years hence, when neither one of us will be sitting here, in all probability, how would you like to see America? In other words, if this dream is going to be realized to fruition, what would you like to see this country be like in 50 years from now?
Well, one, I'd like to see an America where everybody got a good education, guaranteed. And when I say guaranteed, I mean like we do it in Georgia. In Georgia, we took the lottery money and we put it in preschool and higher education. So that almost any student in Georgia that gets a B average and can make 1,100 on the SAT can go to college free. And if you can't make 100 on the SAT, you can go to one of our trade schools and come out with a job. And we have a 92% success rate.
So you do believe that, and it's interesting that you hit on education first, you do believe that education is the key?
Well, no, we also have started teaching kids to create their own jobs. It's education and entrepreneurship.
Right. Well,
And, the problem in Egypt, for instance, is there not enough jobs. And people are not reinvesting the money that they're making in business.
Yeah, well, yeah, Egypt is certainly has a lot of problems, and that certainly is one of them. Mr. Ambassador, I thank you for sharing on this very special day, and thank you very much for talking with us. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just was thanking you, sir, for sharing your thoughts on this day. Appreciate it very much.
Okay.
All right, take care. That's Ambassador Andrew Young, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you listening, of course, in Atlanta know that he's the former mayor of Atlanta and former U.S. Congressman as well.